record. Alright. All good to go now. So let me look at the settings real quick. Probably like right there's a little better. Okay. Alright, so we're playing Doki Doki Literature Club. My name's Lucky. Okay. Jump right into it. Okay. I'm gonna try my best, but I don't know how good I'm gonna do with voice lines and stuff. Hey! I see an annoying girl running towards me from a distance, waving, her arms in the air like she's totally oblivious to any attention she might draw herself, or she might draw to herself. That girl is Sayori, my neighbor, and good friend since we were children. You know the kind of friend you'd never see yourself making today, but it just kind of works out because you've known each other for so long. We used to walk to school together on days like this, but starting around high school, she would oversleep more and more frequently, and I would get tired of waiting up. But if she's going to chase after me like this, I almost feel better off running away. However, I just sigh and idle in front of the crosswalk and let Sayori catch up to me. Haha! I don't know what kind of voice I should do. Ha! I overslept again, but I caught you this time. Maybe, but only because I just wait, that's me. Maybe, but only because I decided to stop and wait for you. You say that like like you were thinking about ignoring me. That's mean, Lucky. Well, if people stare at you for acting weird, then I don't want them to think we're a couple or something. Fine. But you did wait for me after all. I guess you don't have it in you to be mean even if you wanted to. Whatever you say, Sayori. Wait. We cross the street together and make our way to school. As we draw near, the streets become increasingly speckled with other students making their daily commute. By the way, Lucky, have you decided on a club to join yet? A club? I told you already, I'm not really interested in joining any clubs. Oh wait. That was my voice. I told you already, I'm not really interested in joining any clubs. I haven't been looking either. That's not true. You told me you would join a club this year. Did I? I'm sure it is possible that I did in one of your many conversations where I dismissively go along with whatever she's going on about. Suri likes to worry a little too much about me when I'm perfectly content just getting by on the average. Wait, hold on. Suri likes to worry a little too much about me when I'm perfectly content just getting by on the average while spending my free time on games and anime. Yeah. I was thinking about not worried. Oh gosh, it's hard to read, I guess. I was talking about how I'm worried that you won't learn how to socialize or have any skills before college. So good at reading. Your happiness is really important to me, you know. And I know you're happy, but I'd die at the thought of you becoming a NEET in a few years because you're not used to the real world. You trust me, right? Don't make me keep worrying about you. Alright. I'll look at a few clubs if it makes you happy. No promises, though. Will you at least promise to let me help? Will you at least promise me you'll try a little? Yeah, yeah, I guess I'll promise you that. It had to download. Yay! Why do I let myself get lectured by such a carefree girl? You're embarrassing me. More than that, I'm surprised I even let myself relent to her.
This is a terrible woman's voice.
That was my voice.
What?
This is my line still.
Oh.
I guess seeing her worry so much about me makes me want to ease her mind at least a little bit, even if she does exaggerate everything inside of her head. The school day is ordinary as ever, and it's over before I know it. After I pack up my things, I stare blankly at the wall, looking for an ounce of motivation. Clubs? Sayori wants me to check out some clubs. I guess I have no choice but to start with that anime club.
Oh, you would.
Hello? Sayori? Sayori must have come into the classroom while I was spacing out. I look around and realize that I'm the only one left in the classroom. I thought I'd catch you coming out of the classroom, but I saw you just sitting here spacing out, so I came in. Honestly, you're even worse than me sometimes. I'm impressed. You don't need to wait. You don't need to wait up for me. It's going to. You don't need to wait up for me. It's gonna make you late to your own club. Well, I thought you might need some encouragement, so I thought, you know. Know what?
She's gonna suck you off.
Go away. Inappropriate. Go away.
No, come here. I love you.
Okay, go away. I love you too.
I love you.
Go away.
I love you.
Love you too. What? Okay. Well, that you could come join my club. Sayori? Yeah? There's no way I'm gonna join your club. Oh, no, there's no way I'm going to your club. Meanie. Sayori is vice president of the literature club. Not that I was ever aware that she had any interest in literature. In fact, I'm 99% sure she only did it because she thought it would be fun to help start a new club. Since she was the first one to show interest after the one who proposed the club, she inherited the title of vice president. That said, my interest in literature is guaranteed to be even less. Yeah, I'm going to the anime club. Yeah, I'm going to the anime club. Come on, please! Why do you care so much anyway? Well, kind of told the club yesterday I'd bring in a new member. And Natsuki, I think? Natsuki made cupcakes and everything. Don't make a promise you can't keep. I can't tell if Sayori's really that much of an airhead or if she's so cunning as to have planned all of this out. I let out a long sigh. Fine, I'll stop by for cupcakes, okay? Yes, let's go! Hopefully I'm not being too loud. And this today marks the day I sold my soul for cupcakes. I dejectedly follow Sayori across the school and upstairs. A section of... What? I dejectedly follow Sayori across the school and upstairs. A section of the school is rarely visited, being generally used for third-year classes and activities. Sayori is full of energy, swings open the classroom door. Hey everyone! The new member is here! I told you, don't call me a new member. I glance around the room. Girl 1. Welcome to the literature club. It's a pleasure meeting you. Sayori's always says nice things about you. Okay, she has to be like... Seriously? You brought a boy? Way to kill the atmosphere. Ah, Lucky, what nice surprise. Welcome to the club. All words escape me in this situation. This club is full of incredibly cute girls. What are you looking at? If you want to say something, say it. Sorry. Natsuki. The girl with the sour attitudes, whose name is apparently Natsuki, is the one I don't recognize. Her small figure makes me think she's probably a first year. She is also the one who made cupcakes, according to Sayori. Okay, so you can't just ignore her when she's you can just ignore her when she gets moody. Sayori says that quietly into my ear, then turns back towards the other girls. Anyway, this is Natsuki, always full of energy. I don't think I'm saying her name right. And this is Yuri, the smartest in the club. Don't say it don't say it like that. Yuri, who appears comparably more mature and timid, seems to have a hard time keeping up with people like Sayori and Natsuki. I hope I'm saying not Natsuki. Natsuki. I think it's Natsuki. I'll start saying Natsuki. I will. Well, it's nice to meet both of you. And it sounds like you already know Monica. Is that right? That's right. Oh wait, that's right. It's great to see you again, Lucky. Monica smiles sweetly. We do know each other well. We rarely. This is Megan. We do know each other well. We rarely talked, but we were in the same class last year. Monica was probably the most popular girl in class. Smart, beautiful, athletic. Basically, completely out of my league. So having her smile at me genuinely feels a little. You too, Monica. Come sit down. Come sit down, Lucky. We made room for you at the table so you can sit next to me or Monica. I'll get the cupcakes. Natsuki. Hey, I made them. I'll get them. Sorry, I got a little too excited. Then how about I make some tea as well? Oh god. The girls have a few desks arranged to form at a table. As Sayori mentioned, it's been widened so that there is one space next to Monica and one space next to Sayori. Natsuki and Yuri walk over to the corner of the room, where Natsuki grabs a wrapped tray and Yuri opens the closet. Still feeling awkward, I take a seat next to Sayori. Natsuki proudly marches back to the table, tray in hand. Okay, are you ready? Ta-da! Ooh! Natsuki lifts the foil off the tray and reveals a dozen white fluffy cupcakes decorated to look like little cats. The whiskers are drawn with icing and little pieces of chocolate were used to make ears. So cute! I had no idea you were so good at baking, Natsuki. Well, you know. Just hurry and take one. Sayori grabs one, first then Monica. I follow. It's delicious! Sayori talks with her mouth full and has already managed to get icing on her face. I turn the cupcake around with my fingers, looking for the best angle to take a bite. Natsuki is quiet. I can't help but notice her sneaking glances in my direction. Is she waiting for me to take a bite? I finally bite down. The icing is sweet and full of flavor. I wonder if she made it herself. This is really good. Thank you, Natsuki. Why are you thanking me? It's not like I haven't heard this summer before. Made them for you or anything. I thought you technically did. Sayori said. Well, maybe. But not for you know, you dummy. All right. I give up on Natsuki's weird logic and dismiss the conversation. Yuri returns to the table carrying a tea set. She carefully places the teacup in front of each of us before setting down the teapot next to the cupcake tray. You keep a whole tea set in the classroom? Don't worry, the teacher gave us permission. After all, doesn't a hot cup of tea help you enjoy a good book? I guess. Don't let yourself get intimidated by Yuri. She's just trying to impress you. Oh, I read that wrong. That's not... Insulted, Yuri looks away. I meant that, you know... I believe you. Well, the tea and reading might not be a pastime for me, but at least enjoy tea. I at least enjoy tea. I'm glad. Oh gosh. Yuri faintly smiles to herself in relief. Monica raises an eyebrow, then smiles at me. So what made you consider the literature club? I was afraid of this question. Something tells me I shouldn't tell Monica that I was particularly dragged here by Sayori. Well, I haven't joined any clubs yet, and Sayori seemed really happy here, so... That's okay, don't be embarrassed. We'll make sure you feel right at home, okay? As president of the literature club, it's my duty to make the club fun and exciting for everyone. Monica, I'm surprised. How come you decided to start your own club? You could probably be a board member for any of the major clubs. Weren't you the leader of the debate club last year? Haha, well, you know. To be honest, I can't stand all those politics around the major clubs. It feels like nothing but arguing about the budget and publicity and how to prepare for events. I'd much rather take something I personally enjoy and make it something special out of it. And if it encourages others to get into literature, then I'm fulfilling that dream. Monica, you're Monica really is a great leader. Yuri also nods in agreement. Then I'm surprised there aren't more people in the club yet. Must be hard to start a new club. You could put it that way. I mean, you could put it that way. Not many people are very interested in putting out a lot of effort to start something brand new. Especially when it's something that doesn't grab your attention, like literature. You have to work hard to convince people that you're both fun and worthwhile. But it makes school events like the festival that much more important. I'm confident that we can all really grow this club before we graduate. Right, everyone? Yeah! We'll do our best. You know it! Everyone enthusiastically agrees. Such different girls all interested in the same goal. Monica must have worked really hard just to find these three. Maybe that's why we're all so delighted to be... Maybe that's why they were all so delighted by the idea of a new member joining. Though I still don't really know if I can keep up with their level of enthusiasm about literature. Hold on. So, Lucky, what kind of things do you like to read? Well, considering how little I've read these past few years, I don't really have a good way to answer that. Manga. I mutter quietly to myself, half-jokingly. Natsuki's head suddenly perks up. Natsuki's head suddenly perks up, sorry. It looks like she wants to say something but keeps quiet. Not much of a reader, I guess. Well, that can change. Well, that can change. What am I saying? I spoke without thinking after seeing Yuri's sad smile. Anyway, what about you, Yuri? Well, let's see. Yuri traces the rim of her teacup with her finger. My favorites are usually novels that build deep and complex fantasy worlds. The level of creativity and craftsmanship behind them is amazing to me. And telling a good story in such a foreign world is equally impressive. Yuri goes on, clearly passionate about her reading. She seems so reserved and timid since the moment I walked in, but it's obvious by the way her eyes light up that she finds her comfort in the world of books, not people. Maybe we should turn the music down a little bit. There we go, that's better. How do I go back? Return, okay. It was just loud for me. But you know, I like reading a lot of things. Stories with deep psychological elements usually immerse me as well. Isn't it amazing how a writer can so deliberately take advantage of your own lack of imagination to completely throw you for a loop? Anyway, I've been reading a lot of horror lately. I read horror books. I read a horror book once. I desperately grasped something I can relate to at a minimal level. At this rate, Yuri might as well be having a conversation with a rock. Really? I wouldn't have expected that, Yuri. For someone as gentle as you. I guess you could say that. I mean, I guess you could say that. But if a story makes me think or takes me to another world, then I really can't put it down. Surreal horror is very successful at changing the way you look at the world, if only for a brief moment. I hate horror. Oh, why is that? Well, I just... Natsuki's eyes dart over me for a split second. Never mind. Give her such an annoying voice. That's right, you usually like to write about cute things, don't you, Natsuki? What? What gives you that idea? You left a piece of scrap paper behind last club meeting. It looked like you were working on a poem called Don't Say It Out Loud! And give me that back. And give that back. Fine, fine. Your cupcake... Your cupcakes, your poems. Everything you do is just as cute as you are. Shiori slides between Natsuki and puts her hands on her shoulders. I'm not cute. Natsuki, you write your own poems? Well, I guess sometimes. Why do you care? I think that's impressive. Why don't you share them sometimes? Why don't you share them sometimes? No. Natsuki averts her eyes. You wouldn't like them. Not a very confident writer yet. I understand how Natsuki feels. Sharing that level of writing takes more than just confidence. The truest form of writing is writing to oneself. You must be willing to open up your readers, You must be willing to open up to your readers, exposing your vulnerabilities and showing even the deepest reaches of your heart. There's a lot of big words in this game. Do you have writing experience too, Yuri? Do you have writing experience too, Yuri? I don't know. Monika's voice is weird for me. Maybe if you share some of your work, you can set an example and help Natsuki feel comfortable, even comfortable enough to share hers. I guess it's the same for Yuri. I wanted to read everyone's poems. Well, I'll sit in silence for a moment. Okay, I have an idea, everyone. Natsuki and Yuri look quizzically at Monika. Let's all go home and write a poem of our own. Next time we meet, we'll share them with each other. That way everyone is even. Hum? Yeah, let's do it. Plus, now that we have a new member, I think it'll help us get a little more comfortable with each other and strengthen the bond of the club. Isn't that right, Lucky? Monica smiles warmly at me once again. Hold on, there's still one problem. What's that? Now that we're back on the original topic of me joining the club, I bluntly come forth with what's been on my mind the entire time. I never said I would join this club. Sayori may have convinced me to stop by, but I never made any decisions. Still, I have other clubs to look at, and I lose my train of thought. Aw. Everyone's flustered. All four girls stare back at me with dejected eyes. But... I'm sorry, I thought... Humph! Lucky... You all... Oh gosh. I'm defenseless against these girls. How am I supposed to make a clear-headed decision when it's like this? That is, if writing poems is the price I need to pay in order to spend every day with these beautiful girls. Right. Okay, I've decided then. I'll join the literature club. One of the girls' eyes lights up. One by one, the girl's eyes lights up. Yes, I'm so happy! Sayori wraps her arms around me, jumping up and down. Hey! You really did scare me for a moment. If you really just came for the cupcakes, I'd be super pissed. Then that makes it official. Welcome to the Literature Club. Aw, thanks, I guess. Okay, everyone. I think with that, we are officially ended today's meeting on a good note. Everyone remembers tonight's assignment. Write a poem and bring it to me next... Wait. Write a poem and bring it to the next meeting so we can all share. Monica looks over me once more. Lucky, I look forward to seeing how you express yourself. Yeah. Can I really impress the class star Monica with my mediocre writing skills? I already feel the anxiety welling up inside of me. Meanwhile, the girls continue to chit-chat as Yuri and Natsuki clean up their food. Hey! Hey, Lucky, since you're already here, do you want to take me... Do you want to walk home? Do you want to walk home together? Jeez, I can't read. That's right. Sayori and I never walk home together anymore because she's always stayed after school for clubs. Sure, might as well. Yay! Without the two of us depart the club room and make our way home. Without the two of us depart the club room and make our way home. Okay. The whole way, my mind wanders back and forth between the four girls. Sayori, Natsuki, Yuri, and of course, Monica. Will I really be happy spending every day after school in a literature club? Perhaps I'll have the chance to grow closer to one of these girls. Alright. I'll just need to make the most of the circumstances, and I'm sure good fortune will find me. And I guess that starts with writing a poem tonight. Okay, it's time to write a poem. Pick words you think your favorite club members will like. Something good might happen with whoever likes your poem the most. Okay. So I got calm, universe, unrestrained, sadness, Valentine, together, electricity, misfortune, bunny, extraordinary. I'm gonna go sadness. Excitement, shiny, shame, kawaii, laugh, daydream. Oh my gosh, there's 20 pages. I'm just gonna say the ones I like the most. What did I pick the first time? Sadness. Clouds. Frightening. Pain? Tragedy. Horror. Alone. Death? Oh. Why was oh god. Suicide. Depression. This is gonna be a horrible poem. Vertigo. Memories. Anger. Graveyard. Scars? Oh gosh. Hey, it's me, Lucky. Contamination. Misery. Melancholy. Disown. And captive. I wrote a very depressing poem. Hi again. Okay, hold on. I need water. Okay. Hi again, Lucky. Glad to see you didn't run away on us. Haha. Nah, don't worry. This might be a little strange for me, but at least I'll keep my word. Well, I'm back at the Literature Club. I was the last to come in, so everyone else is already hanging out. Thanks for keeping your promise, Lucky. I hope this isn't too overwhelming of a commitment for you. Making you dive headfirst into literature when you're not accustomed to it. Oh, come on, like he deserves any slack. Sayori told me you didn't even want to join the club this year. We're joining the clubs this year. And last year, too. I don't know if you plan to just come here and hang out or what. But if you don't take it seriously, then you won't see the end of it. Natsuki, you certainly have a big mouth for someone who keeps her manga collection in her club in the club room. Natsuki finds herself stuck between saying Monica and manga. Manga is literature! Swiftly defeated, Natsuki plops back into her seat. Don't worry, guys. Lucky always gives it his best as long as he's having fun. He helps me with busy work without me even asking. Like cooking, like cooking and cleaning my room. How dependable. Sayori, that's because your room is messy. It's distracting. And you almost set your house on fire once. Is that so? And you two are really good friends, aren't you? I might be a little jealous. How come you and Lucky can become good friends too? Sayori. As usual, Sayori seems oblivious to the weird situation she just put me into. Uh-oh. Yuri even brought you something today, you know? Wait. That's good. Well, wait, Sayori? Me? Not really. Don't be shy. It's really nothing. What is it? Never mind. Oh. Sari made it seem like a big deal when it's really not. What do I do? What do I do? I'm sorry, Yuri, I wasn't thinking. I guess this means it's up to me to rescue the situation. Hey, don't worry about it. First of all, I wasn't expecting anything in the first place. So any nice gesture from you is a pleasant surprise. It'll make me happy no matter what. Is that so? Okay. Yeah, I won't make it a big deal if you don't want it to be. Alright. Well, here. Yuri reaches into her bag and pulls out a book. I didn't want you to feel left out, so I picked out a book that I thought you might enjoy. It's a short read, so I should keep your attention, even if you don't usually read. And we could, you know, discuss it if you wanted. This is... How is this girl accidentally becoming so cute? Or being so cute? She even picked out a book she thinks I'll like to read despite me not reading much. Yuri, thank you. I'll definitely read this. I enthusiastically take the book. Phew. Well, you can read it at your own pace. I look forward to hear about what you think. Now that everyone's settled in, I expected Monica to kick it off with some scheduled activities for the club, but that doesn't seem to be the case. Sari and Monica are having a cherry conversation in the corner. Cherry. Yuri's face is already buried into a book. I can't help but notice her intense expression. She was waiting for this chance. Meanwhile, Natsuki is rummaging around in the closet. Man, it looks like no one wants to be bothered today. I slump down in the nearest desk. How am I supposed to occupy myself with something literature related by myself like this? I guess I could always read some of the books some of the book Yuri gave me, but I'm feeling a little too tired to read. I could probably fall asleep right now. I close my eyes and end up listening to Sayori's conversation with Monica. We're probably gonna seem really lame compared to all the other clubs, though. Well, we can't give up. The festival is our chance to show everyone what literature is all about. The problem is that the idea of literature clubs sounds too dense and intellectual. What? Okay. Intellectual. Okay, I'm just gonna give up. Intellectual. Okay. But it's not like that at all, you know. We just need a way of showing that to everyone. Something that speaks to their own creative minds. That doesn't solve the problem, though. What do you mean? Even if we come up with the most fun thing ever... Oh... Nobody will come in the first place if it's a literature event. So it's more important to figure out how to get people to show up in the first place, you know? And after they come, we can do the thing to speak to their creative minds. Oh, what's this? Sarah is taking this really seriously. It's rare to hear her deliberating like this. Huh, that's a good point. In that case, do you think food will do the trick? What kind? Well, I guess we could... Cupcakes? Haha, good thinking. Natsuki would love to do that. Ah, you're right. Natsuki makes the best cupcakes. That works out perfectly. That wasn't why you suggested it. Cupcakes speak to my creative tummy. Cupcakes it is then. I'm hungry. Anyway, we still need to work out the details of the event itself. Okay. I find myself smiling. In the end, Sarah is still her usual self. But therein lies the unexpected reason I admired her. Unlike me, who has trouble finding any motivation at all, Sarah can put her mind to things that make them come to life. I suppose that's why I end up letting her get on my case about things. I can't help but wonder what it would be like to see the world through her eyes. Whoa! I open my eyes and find Sarah's face filling my vision. I nearly fall out of my chair. Hey, sorry. Wait. Actually, I'm not sorry at all. It's your fault for sleeping like that. This isn't the napping club. Does our school have a napping club? You're staying up late again, aren't you? Now that you're in a club, you're gonna have to take less time for anime, you know? You'll need to get used to it. Don't say that so loud. I glance over my shoulder and see if Monica's overheard. It's true though. Yeah. I know. You're always looking out for me, Sari. Heh. It's what I do best. That's a problem. What about you? You look out for me better than you look out for yourself. You're still oversleeping every day, aren't you? Not every day. That's not very convincing. Or that's not very convincing. How many days this past week have you gotten up on time? It's a secret. I knew it. Come on. At least give me the benefit of a doubt. I can't even do that. Look, Sari, it's written all over you. Eh? Sari glances around herself. How is it written all over me? You were clearly in a rush this morning. Oh, snap. Look, your hair's sticking out all around here. I ran my fingertips down the side of Sari's hair, trying to straighten it out. Man, you really need a brush for this. My hair is just really hard to get right. I won't fall for that. There's more than just your hair. Look, your bow isn't straight either. And there's toothpaste stain on your collar right here. I try to wipe off the stain with my finger. But nobody would ever notice that. Of course they would. Nobody's gonna tell you about it because they don't want to embarrass you. Fortunately, I really don't care about that. Hey, you meanie. And you don't even keep your blazer buttoned up. Seriously, Sari. Come on. Why do you think you don't have a boyfriend yet? That's super mean. Sorry, but you'll thank me later. I start to button her blazer from the bottom. Once you see how much better it looks, you'll change your mind. Oh gosh. This is so funny. What is... Well... I was just thinking how weird it is having a friend who does these kinds of things. Don't say that. You make me feel weird about it, stupid. It's okay, though. I'm happy we're like this. Aren't you? I guess? Hey, be careful. The button might come off. Why is this one so hard to close? I struggle to fully close the button near her chest. Does this thing even fit you properly? It did when I bought it. Sigh. If you ever buttoned it, you would have noticed sooner that it doesn't fit you anymore. What are you smiling about? Oh god. It means my boobs got bigger again. Don't say that out loud. Anyway, you look much better now, so... why does it feel strange to see Suri's blazer button up like that? But it's so stuffy. It's not worth it at all. Suri hastily unbuttons her blazer once more. Phew. That's so much better. Sayori puts her arms out and twirls around. So if I keep it unbuttoned, then I won't get a boyfriend, right? What kind of logic is that? And why are you saying that like it's a good thing? Because... if I had a boyfriend, then he wouldn't even let you do things like this. And you take care of me better than anyone else would, anyway. So that's why I'm keeping it unbuttoned. Stop saying all these things. Stop saying all these embarrassing things. Eh? I didn't say anything embarrassing. Jeez. Well, anyway, you focused on trying to wake up a little earlier. Only if you focus on going to bed a little earlier. Fine, fine. It's a deal. I guess we really are better at taking care of each other than we are at taking care of ourselves. Yeah, I guess so, huh? So maybe we should come wake me up in the morning. You're doing it again, Sayori. Aw, but I was joking that time. I mean, it's impossible to tell with you sometimes. Okay, everyone. Eh? Monica suddenly calls out. Why don't we share the poems we wrote now? Yay! Lucky, I can't wait to read yours. Yeah, same. I failed to sound enthusiastic, but Sayori still trots away to retrieve her poem. By the way, did you remember to write a poem last night? Yeah. My relaxation ends. I can't believe I agreed to do something so embarrassing. I couldn't really find much inspiration since I've never really done this before. Well now, that everyone's ready? Why don't you find someone to share with? I can't wait! Sayori and Monica enthusiastically pull out their poems. Sayori is on a wrinkled sheet of loose... Sayori's is on a wrinkled sheet of loose leaf torn from a spiral notebook. On the other hand, Monica wrote hers in a composition notebook. I can already see Monica's pristine handwriting from here, where I sit. Natsuki and Yuri reluctantly comply as well, reaching into their bags. I do the same myself. Okay. Who should I show my poem to first? Sayori. Since I'm new to the club and I know her more. I'm definitely most comfortable sharing it with Sayori first. She's my good friend after all. Oh my goodness. That's so good, Lucky. Eh? I love it. I had no idea you were such a good writer. Sayori? You must be seriously overreacting. I'm not a good writer at all. I honestly have no idea what I'm doing. Well, maybe that's why. Because I have no idea what I like either. Haha. Jeez. I'm sure Yuri's opinion has to be a little more constructive than this. Maybe even Natsuki's. Are you sure you don't have... Are you sure you don't like it just because I wrote it? Eh? Well, I'm sure that's part of it. I think I understand you better than a lot of other people, you know. So when I read your poem, it's not just a poem. It's a lucky poem. And that makes me feel extra special. Like I can feel your feelings in it. Sayori hugs the sheet of paper against her chest. You're so weird, Sayori. I'm really happy just that you wrote one. It just reminds me of how you're really a part of the club now. Not to mention the fact that I'm standing in front of you in the club room. Well, of course. I'm not really into it yet, but that doesn't mean I'll break my promise. See? It's like you said before, Lucky. Deep down, you're not selfish at all, you know? Trying new things like this for other people, that's something only really good people do. Thanks, Sayori. I'm not sure if Sayori sees the full picture of my motive here. Then again, I can't deny that she's part of the reason I joined, knowing how much this means to her and all. Yeah. And I'm gonna make sure you have lots of fun here, okay? That'll be my way of thanking you. Alright, I'm gonna hold you to that then. I'm gonna hold you to that then. Yay! Now you read my poem too, right? Don't worry, I'm really bad at this. Well, let's see about that. Okay. Dear sunshine, the way you glow through my blinds in the morning, it makes me feel like you missed me. Kissing my forehead to help me out of bed, making me rub the sleepy from my eyes. Are you asking me to come out and play? Are you trusting me to wish away the rainy day? I look above, the sky is blue. It's a secret, but I trust you too. If I wasn't for you, I could sleep forever. But I'm not mad. I want breakfast. Sayori, this is just a guess, but did you wait until the morning to write this? No. Just a little bit. You can't answer just a little bit to a yes or no question. I forgot to do it last night. Well, at least that makes me feel a little bit better about myself. Don't be mean. I still tried my best. Ha, yeah. I didn't mean to say that it was a bad poem. It came out nice, or how should I put it? It sounds just like you. Really? Yeah. Especially that last line. I made eggs and toast. Even though you were late to school? It's bad to skip breakfast. I get all cranky. Well, I guess there's no point in arguing. Anyway, thanks for showing me. Hehe. This is so much fun. Monica's the best. Ah, yeah. But next time I won't forget. And I'm gonna write the best poem ever. Well, I guess I'll look... Well, I guess I'll look forward to it. Yeah. I'm gonna show it to Yuri next. Okay. Yuri stares at the poem. A minute passes, more than enough time for her to finish reading. Oh. So sorry. I forgot to start speaking. It's fine, don't force yourself. I'm not. I just need to put my thoughts into words. Hold on. Okay. This is your first time writing a poem, right? Yeah? Why do you ask? I'm just making sure. I guess that it might be after reading through it. So it's that bad. No! Did I just raise my voice? I'm so sorry. Yuri buries her face in her hands. I couldn't help notice that it's been several minutes and we really... Wait, what? I couldn't help but notice it's been several minutes and we haven't really gotten anywhere. Might have taken Yuri a while to get used to new people. It's fine, I really didn't notice. What were you saying? Right, it's just that there's a specific writing habit that are usually typical of new writers. And having been through that myself, I kind of learned to pick up on them. I think the most noticeable thing I recognize in new writers is that they try to make their style very deliberate. In other words, they tend to pick writing styles separate from their topic no matter what form fit. Wait. In other words, they tend to pick a writing style separate from the topic matter, and they form fit the two together. The end result is that both the style and the expressions are weakened. Once Yuri finds her train of thought, it's as if her demeanor totally changes. Her stammering is completely gone and she sounds like an expert. Of course, that's not something you can be blamed for. There's so many different skills and techniques that go into writing even a simple poem. Not just finding them and building them, not just finding them and building them, but getting them to work together is probably the most challenging part. It might take you some time, but it all comes with practice and learning by example and trying new things. I also hope that everyone else in the club gives you a valuable feedback. Natsuki can be a little bit biased though. Biased how? Well, never mind. I shouldn't be talking about people like that. Sorry. It's fine. I'm not sure if Yuri is apologizing to herself, to me, or to Natsuki. Do you mind if I read your poem now? Please do. I love to share my thought process behind it. Yuri smiles dreamingly, as if the rare opportunity for her. Which itself is kind of funny. After all, isn't this supposed to be a literature club? Okay. Ghosts under the light. The tendrils of life... Oh, the tendrils of my life... wait. The tendrils of my hair illuminate beneath the amber glow. Bathing. It must be this one. The last remaining streetlight to have withstood the last of the... what is that? Withstood the lease of time, I guess? The last yet to be replaced by the sickening blue-green hue of the future. I bathe, claim, I bathe, calm, breathing air of the present but living in the past. The light flickers, I flicker back. Oof. Okay. I'm sorry, I have such terrible handwriting. What? I wasn't thinking about that. But it took you a long time to read. Well, I just don't read script very often. I actually think your handwriting is pretty. Eh? That's a relief. Also, I like the poem. Even though it's short, it was really descriptive. It wasn't too short. I usually write longer poems. Not at all. I'm really glad you liked it. I'll be honest. Since it's our first time sharing, I wanted to write something a little more mild. Something easy to digest, I suppose. Are you into ghosts? Wait, are you into ghosts, Yuri? Actually, the story isn't about ghosts at all, Lucky. Really? I must have totally missed the point. Well, I suppose you did only glance over it after all. But remember, the poets often express their own thoughts, feelings, and experiences in their work. They usually do more than tell a simple story or paint a picture. In this case, perhaps, the subject of the poem is only being symbolically compared to a ghost, lingering in her last remaining place of comfort, unable to let go of the past, and soon to be left with nothing. That's a lot more solemn putting it that way. I hadn't even thought of that. That's impressive. It's nothing really. Well, it makes me happy that you think that. Just remember that it won't be long before you pick up these things too. Yeah, maybe you're right. I guess I have to keep trying. I'm counting on you. Okay. Who should I show my poem to next? Monica. Hi, Lucky. Having a good time so far? Ah, yeah. Good, glad to hear it. By the way, since you're new and everything, if you ever have suggestions for the club, like new activities or things we can do better, I'm always listening. Don't be afraid to bring things up, okay? Alright, I'll keep that in mind. Of course I'll be afraid to bring things up. I'm much better off going with the flow until I'm more settled in. Anyway, want to share your poem with me? It's kind of embarrassing, but I guess I have to. Haha. Don't worry, Lucky. We're all a little embarrassed today, you know? But it's that sort of barrier that we'll all learn to get past soon. Yeah, that's true. I hand Monica my poem. I like this one. Makes me think of something Sayori would like. Ooh. Is that so? You and Sarah are really good friends, right? I wouldn't be surprised if you had these sort of things in common. Ah, well. We may be good friends, but Sayori and I are actually really different. Well, that may be the case, but maybe there's also some similarities that you wouldn't expect. The way she talks about you, it sounds like the two of you really care about each other's well-being. Even if you show it in different ways, it ends up being more similar than you'd think. So I think that kind of a vibe I get when reading your poem. You sure you're not reading into it too much? Haha, could be. Oh gosh, I sound like Yuri. But in any case, Sayori's writing has kind of a gentle feel to it. I can tell that she likes exploring the emotions like happiness and sadness. Who knew that someone so happy would enjoy sad things too? Yeah, that's totally unexpected. Well, to each their own. And you shouldn't be afraid to experiment a little bit either. I'm sure I'll end up trying different things a lot. Could take a while before I feel comfortable doing this. That's okay. I love to see you try new things. That's the best way to find the kind of style that suits you. Everyone else might be a little biased towards their own kinds of styles, but I'll always help you find what suits you the most. So don't force yourself to write the way everyone else wants you to write. It's not like you have to worry about impressing them or anything. Haha. Haha. Anyway, do you want to read my poem now? Don't worry, I'm not very good. You sound pretty confident for someone who claims to not be very good. Well, that's because I have to sound confident. That doesn't mean I always feel that way, you know? I see. Well, let's read it then. Hole in wall. It couldn't have been me. Sees the direction of spackled protrudes? Oh, see the direction the spackle protrudes. A noisy neighbor? An angry boyfriend? I'll never know. I wasn't home. I peer inside for a clue. No, I can't see. I reel, blind like a film left out in the sun. But it's too late. My retinas, already scorched with the permanent copy of the meaningless image. It's just a little hole. It wasn't too bright. It was too deep, stretching forever into everything. A hole of infinite choices. I realize now that I wasn't looking in, I was looking out. And he, on the other side, was looking in. Huh. So, what do you think? It's very freeform, if that's what you call it. Sorry, I'm not really the right person to ask for feedback. Haha, it's okay. Yeah, that kind of style has gotten pretty popular nowadays. That is, a lot of poems have been putting emphasis on the timing between words and lines. When performed out loud, it can be really powerful. What was the inspiration behind this one? Ah. Well, I'm not sure if I know how to put it. I guess you could say that I had some kind of epiphany recently. It's been influencing my poems a bit. An epiphany? Yeah, something like that. I'm kind of nervous to talk about deep stuff like that because it's kind of coming on strongly. Maybe after everyone is better friends with each other. Anyway, here's Monica's writing tip of the day. Sometimes when you're writing a poem or a story, your brain gets too fixated on a specific point. If you try so hard to make it perfect, then you'll never make any progress. Just force yourself to get something down on a paper and tidy it up later. Another day to think about it, it is this. Another way to think about it is this. If you keep your pen in the same spot for too long, you just get a big dark puddle of ink. So move your hand and go with the flow. That's my advice for today. Monica advice for the day. Thanks for listening. Who should I show my poem to next? I don't know. There's no other options really. Lucky, if you're not going to take this club seriously, then go home. What? Harsh. What, you expect me to believe that you actually put effort into this? Do you think I'm stupid? I'm not a writer. Maybe it's not maybe it's not very good, but yeah, I did put effort into it. We all start somewhere, right? If you're still proud of the first poem you ever wrote, then I'd like to read it. Huh. Painful to think about. Fine. Well, sorry. You'll get better anyway. I tell you what to improve, but you're better off trying again. Fair enough. Well, to each their own, I guess. Anyway, I guess I gotta share mine now. Knowing you probably think it's stupid. Eagles can fly. Monkeys can climb. Crickets can leap. Horses can race. Owls can seek. Cheetahs can run. Eagles can fly. People can try. But that's about it. Okay. Yeah. I told you weren't gonna like it. I like it. What? Just be honest. I am. Why are you so convinced that I wouldn't like it? Well, because everyone in high school thinks that writing has to be all sophisticated and stuff. So people don't even take my writing seriously. But it's that point of poems for people to express themselves. Your writing style wouldn't make your message any less valid. Yes, exactly. Yes, exactly. I like it when it's easy to read, but it hits you hard. Like in this poem. Seeing everyone around you do great things can be really disheartening. So I decided to write about it. Yeah, I understand. But the other nice thing about simple writing is that it puts more weight on the wordplay. Like I set up for a rhyme at the end, but then made it fall flat on purpose. Like I set it for a rhyme at the end, but then made it fall flat on purpose. It helps bring out the feeling in the last line. So you did. I guess you more went into it than I realized. That's what it means to be a pro. Glad you learned something. Didn't expect that from the youngest one here, did you? Yeah, I guess not. I decided to humor her with the last comment. I don't really care how old everyone is, but if Natsuki is feeling proud, then I won't take that away from her. Alright. Woo! I guess that's everyone. I'll glance around the room. That was a little more stressful than I anticipated. It's as if everyone is judging me for mediocre writing abilities. Even if they're just being nice, there's no way that my poems can stand up to theirs. This is a literature club after all, I sigh. I guess that's what I ended up getting myself into. Across the room, Sayori and Monica are happily chatting. My eyes landed on Yuri and Natsuki. They gingerly exchange sheets of paper, sharing their respective poems. As they read in tandem, I watch their expressions change. Natsuki's eyebrows furrow in frustration. Meanwhile, Yuri smiles sadly. What's with this language? Eh? Did you say something? Oh, it's nothing. Natsuki dismissively returns the poem to the desk with one hand. I guess you could say it's fancy. Ah, thanks. Yours is cute. Cute? Did you completely miss the symbolism or something? It's clearly about the feeling I'm giving up. How can that be cute? I know that. I just meant the language, I guess. It was trying to say something nice. Eh? You mean you have to try hard to come up with something nice to say? Thanks, but it really didn't come up. Hold on, wait. Thanks, but it didn't really come out nice at all. Well, I do have a couple of suggestions. If I was looking for suggestions, I would have asked someone who actually liked it. Which people did, by the way. Sayori liked it. And Lucky did too. So based on that, I'll gladly give you some suggestions of my own. First of all, excuse me. I appreciate the offer, but I've spent a long time establishing my writing style. I don't expect it to change anytime soon, unless of course I come across something particularly inspiring. Which I haven't yet. And Lucky liked my poem too, you know. He even told me he was impressed by it. Natsuki suddenly stands up. Oh? I didn't realize you were so invested in trying to impress our new member, Yuri. Eh? That's not what I... You're just... Yuri stands up as well. Maybe you're just jealous that Lucky appreciates my advice more than he appreciates yours. Yeah? And how do you know he didn't appreciate my advice more? Are you that full of yourself? No. If I was full of myself, I would deliberately go out of my way to make everything I do overly cutesy. Is everyone okay? Well, you know what? I wasn't the one whose boobs magically grew a size bigger as soon as Lucky started showing up. Natsuki? Natsuki, that's a little... This doesn't involve you. I don't like fighting, guys. Suddenly, both the girls turned towards me as if they just noticed I was standing there. Lucky. She's just trying to make me look bad. That's not true. She started it. If she could get over herself and learn to appreciate the simple writing, it's more effective. Then this wouldn't have happened in the first place. What's the point of making your poems all convoluted? I know English. What's the point of making all your poems convoluted for no reason? The meaning should jump out at the reader, not force them to have to figure it out. Help me explain that to her, Lucky. Well, wait. There's a reason we have so many deep and expressive words in our language. It's the only way to convey complex feelings and meaning the most effectively. Avoiding them is not only unnecessarily limiting yourself, it's also a waste. You understand that, right, Lucky? Well... How did I get dragged into this in the first place? It's not like I know anything about writing. But whomever I agree with, they'll probably like me more highly of... or they'll think more highly of me. I'm gonna go Yuri. Natsuki. You're right that I liked your poem. See? Wait. That's not the excuse for you to be so mean. You shouldn't pick a fight just because someone's opinion is different. That's not what's happening at all. Yuri wouldn't even take my poem seriously. Yuri wouldn't even take my poem seriously. I understand. Yuri? Eh? You're a seriously talented writer. It's no secret that I was impressed. Well, but here's the thing. No matter how simple or refined someone's writing style is, they're still putting feelings into it and it becomes something really personal. That's why Natsuki felt threatened when you said her poem was cute. I see. I didn't notice that. I'm sorry. Oh. But Natsuki, you took it way too far. Yuri means well, and if you just told her how you felt, then this wouldn't have happened in the first place. Are you kidding me? That's exactly what I did. It was her that... Natsuki, I think that's enough. You both said some things that you didn't mean. Yuri apologized. Don't you think that you should apologize too? No. Natsuki clenches her fists. And then nobody has taken her side. She's trapped at this point, being defiant only because she can't handle the pressure. I ended up feeling bad for her. Sometimes when I'm hurt, it helps to take a walk to clear my head. Sari, she doesn't need to. You know what? I'm gonna do that. It'll spare me from having to look at all your faces right now. Without warning, Natsuki snatches up her poem and up from the desk and storms out. On her way out, she crumples up the poem with her hands and throws it in the trash. Natsuki, she really didn't need to do that. I look across the classroom. Yuri has her chin buried in her hands while she stares down at her desk. I gingerly approach her and sit in an adjacent chair. Sigh. Everything alright? I'm so embarrassed. I can't believe I acted like that. You probably hate me now. No, Yuri. How could anyone not have gotten frustrated after being treated like that? You handled it as well as anyone could. I don't think anything less of you. Well, alright, I believe you. Thanks, Lucky, you're too kind. I'm thankful you have to be... I'm thankful to have you as part of the club now. It's nothing. One more thing. That one thing that Natsuki said about, I would never do anything so shameful. So, what thing did Natsuki say? Well, never mind that. I'm gonna go make some tea. Ah, good idea. Make enough for more than one person, okay? Yeah. Okay, everyone. It's just about time for us to leave. How did you all feel about sharing poems? It was a lot of fun. Well, I'd say it was worth it. It was alright, well, mostly. Lucky, how about you? Yeah, I'd say the same. It was a neat thing to talk about with everyone. Awesome! In that case, we'll do the same thing tomorrow. And maybe you learned something from your friends too. So your poems will turn out even better. I think to myself, I did learn a little more about the kinds of poems everyone likes. With any luck, that means I can at least do a better job impressing those I want to impress. I nod to myself with newfound determination. Lucky! Ready to walk home? Sure, let's go. Sayori beams at me. It truly has been a while since Sayori and I have spent this much time together. I can't really say that I'm not enjoying it either. Sayori? About what happened earlier. What do you mean? Between Yuri and Natsuki. Does that kind of thing happen often? No. That's really the first time I've seen them fight like that. Promise they're both wonderful people. You don't hate them, do you? No, I don't hate them. I just wanted your opinion, that's all. I can see why they make good friends with you. Phew. Lucky, it's nice that I gotta spend time with you in the club. But I think seeing you get along with everyone makes me the happiest. And I think everyone really likes you too. That's... Every day is gonna be so much fun. Sigh. Looks like Sayori still hasn't caught onto the kind of situation I'm in. Oh wait, sure, being friends with everyone is nice, but does it really need to stop there? We'll just have to see what the future holds, Sayori. I pat Sayori on the shoulder. I said that more to myself than to her, but it's easy to use Sayori as an internal monologue sometimes. Okay. Yeah. Let's do this. I think I said... Okay. Okay. What am I gonna do? Oops. Okay. I don't even know what I clicked. Hold on 1 second. Okay. 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 Oh, that was wrong. Huh. I'm trying to impress Yuri, I think. Shikaku? Yep. Precious? Nope. Hurt? No. Ambient. Okay. Not scars. Cry? Nope. Uncontrollable. Sensation. Pleasure. Oh, nope. Horror. Boop. After image. Okay. Intellectual. Intellectual. Blah, 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 bull. Starscape. Valentine. Shopping. Marriage. Tragedy. Insight. Flea. Landscape. Puppy. Insight? Yeah. Heaven set. Cage. Flower. Time. Suicide. Loud. Sing. Playground. Calm. Heartbeat. Nope, that was wrong. Unrequited. Nope. I'm terrible at this. Unstable. Graveyard. Nice. I did a lot more Yuris, I think, that time. Okay. Another day passes, and it's time for the club meeting already. I've gotten a little more comfortable here over the past couple days. Entering the club room, the usual scene greets me. Hi, Lucky. Yo, Sayori. Looks like you're in a good mood today. I'm just still not used to you being in the club, that's all. I see. That's a pretty simple thing to get you in a good mood. But I guess it's always the simple things with you anyway. Speaking of which, I'm kinda hungry. Will you come with me to buy a snack? No thanks. That's not like you at all. I have my reasons. Why don't we take a look at your purse, Sayori? Why that all of a sudden? No reason, really. Just wanted to look at it. Aha! Sayori nervously retrieves her coin purse. She fumbles with the latch to get it open. Then she turns it upside down and lets me see the contents spill on the desk. Only 2 small coins fell out. I knew it. I can see right through you, Sayori. That's not fair. How did you even know? It's simple. If you had enough money in the first place, you would have bought a snack before coming into the club room. So either you're not hungry and wanted an excuse to take a walk, or you planned on conveniently forgetting that you spent all your money so that I would lend you some. But there's one more thing. You're always hungry. And so, that only leaves the one option. I give up. Don't make me feel guilty. If you feel guilty, that means you deserve to feel guilty. Haha. Yuri suddenly giggles. I didn't notice she was listening in. Her face isn't in her book, as always. I wasn't listening or anything. It was just something in my book. Yuri. Tell Lucky to let me borrow some money. That's... Don't get me involved like that, Sayori. Besides, you should only buy what you can responsibly afford. And frankly, for pulling a mischievous little stunt like that, your suffering is fair enough retribution. Ha. I didn't mean that. I got too absorbed in my book. I really like that. I really like when you speak your mind, Yuri. Doesn't happen much, but it's fun aside. Doesn't happen much, but it's a fun side of you. There's no way you could think that. You're right, though. I did something bad, and now I have to accept the retribution. That still coming from you, Sayori. I guess there's a little devil inside all of us, isn't there? Don't let her fool you. Sayori knows exactly what she's doing. After all, she told you guys she was bringing me to the club before she even told me. But you wouldn't have come if there weren't for the cupcakes. So I had to trick Natsuki into making them. Come on, give me more credit than that, Sayori. Come on, give me more credit than that, Sayori. Oh, I punch her? Yeah. I don't know where something smacks Sayori in the face and tumbles under the desk. Oh, what was... A cookie? Sure enough, it's a giant cookie wrapped in plastic. Sayori glances around. It's a miracle! It's because I paid my restitution. Retribution. Actually, that one almost worked. I was just gonna give it to you, but then I heard you blab about the cupcakes. It was totally worth seeing your reaction, though. Natsuki, that's so nice of you. I'm so happy. Sayori hugs the cookie. Oh. Jeez, just eat it. Sayori rapidly tears open the wrapper and takes a big bite. So good. Sayori sadly clasps her hands over her mouth. I bit my tongue. Oh, come on, man. You're going through a lot over just one cookie. I mean, you're going through a... Wait, who is this? Yeah, good. You're going through a lot over just one cookie. Natsuki takes a bite of her own cookie. Yours looks really good too, Natsuki. Can I try it? Jeez. Beggars can't be choosers. But yours is chocolate. Yeah, why do you think I gave you that one? Wait, why do you think I gave you that one? Fine. Still, I'm really happy that you shared this one with me. Sayori gets out of her seat and goes behind Natsuki and wraps her arms around her. Aw, jeez. I get it. Cookie still in hand, Natsuki reaches up and nudges Sayori off of her... Sayori suddenly leans down and takes a bite of Natsuki's cookie. Hey! Did you seriously just do that? Mouthful, Sayori trots away to safety. Yuri and I laugh as well. Jeez, you're such a kid sometimes. Monica, can you tell Sayori... Yeah? Natsuki glances around. Monica's in the club room. Ugh. Where's Monica anyway? Good question. Have any of you heard anything about her being late today? Not me. Yeah, I haven't either. That's a bit unusual. I hope she's okay. Of course she is. Of course she's okay. She's probably just had something to do today. She's pretty popular after all. Eh? You don't think she has a... I wouldn't be surprised. She's probably more desirable than all of us combined. That's true. Excuse me? Suddenly the door swings open. Sorry, I'm super sorry. Oh, there you are. I didn't mean to be late. I hope you guys weren't worried or anything. Eh? Monica chose the club over her boyfriend after all. You're so strong-willed. A boyfriend? What on earth are you talking about? Monica quizzically glances around. Glances at me. Never mind that. What held you up anyway? Ah. Well, my last period today was study hall. To be honest, I kinda just lost track of time. Haha. That makes no sense, though. You would have heard the bell ring at least. I must not have heard it since I was practicing piano. Piano? I wasn't aware you played music as well, Monica. I don't really. I kind of just started recently. I've always wanted to learn piano. That's so cool! You should play something for us, Monica. That's... Monica looks at me. Maybe once I get a little bit better, I will. Yay! That sounds cool. I also look forward to it. Is that so? In that case, I won't let you down, Lucky. Monica smiles sweetly. I didn't mean any pressure or anything like that. Don't worry. I've been practicing a whole lot recently, and I really love a chance to share once I'm ready. I see. In that case, best of luck. Thanks. So I didn't miss anything, did I? No, not really. Not really. I chose to leave out Sari's mischievous escapade. I'm sure Natsuki will end up complaining to her anyway. It looks like everyone has already settled down. Sari somehow already finished her entire cookie. Yuri's back to her book and Natsuki disappeared in the closet. I'm really curious to talk to Yuri a little bit more, but at the same time I would feel bad for distracting her from reading. I catch a glimpse of the cover of her book. It looks like the same book that she lent to me. More than that, she seems to be on the first few pages. Crap. I think she noticed me looking at her. Hang on just 1 second. Okay, sorry about that. Oh, let me do this real quick too. Okay. Okay. I just went and got water. I was dying of thirst. Okay. She sneaks another glance at me, and our eyes meet for a split second. Yuri. Oh. But that only makes her hide her face deeper into her book. Sorry. I was just spacing out. I mutter this, sensing I made her uncomfortable. Oh. It's fine. If I was focused, then I probably wouldn't have noticed in the first place. But I'm just rereading a bit of this, so... That's the book you gave me, right? Mm-hmm. Oh, gosh. I keep pushing that button. I wanted to reread some of it. Not for any particular reason. Just curious. How come you have 2 copies of the same book? Well, when I stopped at the bookstore yesterday, that's not what I meant. I mean, I just happened to buy 2 of them. It's hard to do her voice. Ah, I see. There's something fairly obvious here that Yuri isn't telling me about, but I've decided to let it go. I'll definitely start reading it soon. I'm glad to hear. Once it starts to pick up, you might have a hard time putting it down. It's a very engaging and relatable story. Is that so? What's it about anyway? Well, Yuri closes the book and scans her eyes over the back. The book is titled Portrait of Markov. There's an ominous-looking eye symbol on the front cover. Alright. I just wanted to make sure I don't actually give anything away. I just wanted to make sure I don't actually accidentally give anything away. Basically, it's about this girl in school who moves in with her long-lost younger sister. But as soon as she does so, her life gets really strange. She gets targeted by these people who escaped from a human experimenting prison. And while her life is in danger, she needs to desperately choose who to trust. No matter what she does, she ends up destroying most of her relationships, and her life starts to fall apart. That's kind of dark, isn't it? You made it sound like it was going to be a nice story, so that dark turn came out of nowhere. I mean, it was a horror book. Haha. Yuri gently giggles all of a sudden. Are you not a fan of that sort of thing, Licky? No, it's not that. I meant I can definitely enjoy these kinds of stories, so don't worry. I hope so. Yeah, I totally forgot that Yuri's into these things. She's so shy and reclusive. Oh man. She's so shy and reclusive on the outside, but her mind seems to be completely different. It's just those kinds of stories. They challenge you to look at life from a different, strange new perspective. When horrible things happen, not just because someone wants to be evil, because they have their own goals and their own philosophy that they believe in. I know I keep going in and out of the voice, but it's, hey, what's going on? Hey, you still there, system? Sorry, I'm reading and stuff. Then suddenly, when you thought you related to the protagonist, they're made out to be the naive one, letting their one-sided morals interfere with the villainous plans. What's going on? Doing alright, systems? I'm rambling, aren't I? Not again. I'm sorry. Hey, don't apologize. I haven't lost interest or anything. Well, I guess it's alright then. But I feel like I should let you know that I have this problem. When I let things like books and writings fill my thoughts, I kind of forget to pay attention to other people. And that's good to hear, system. Nice. So I'm sorry if I ended up saying something strange. And please stop me if I start talking too much. That's... I really don't think you need to worry. Hold on a second. I'm not gonna... I don't think I'll stream that tonight. I'm only gonna stream this game till like... I don't even know. Maybe like... after I stream for 2 hours or something. And then I'll just play whatever afterwards. That just means you're passionate about reading. That just means you're passionate about reading. The least I can do is listen. It's a literature club after all. That's true. In fact, I might as well get started reading it, right? You don't have to. Haha. What are you saying? Just a moment ago, you were looking forward to it. Let me just get the book. I quickly retrieved the book I had put into my bag. Alright, if it's fine, if I sit here, right? I slip into the seat next to Yuri's. Ah. Yeah? Are you sure? You seem a little apprehensive. I'm sorry. It's not that I don't want you to. It's just something I'm not very used to. That is, reading in company with someone. I'm gonna save real quick. Just in case my game crashes or something. I see. Oh, that was me. I see. Well, just tell me if I end up distracting you or anything. Alright. I open the book and start the prologue. I soon understand what Yuri means about reading in company. It's as if I can feel her presence over my shoulder as I read. It's not particularly a bad thing. Maybe a little distracting, but the feeling is somewhat comforting. Yuri's in the corner of my eye. I realize that she's not actually looking at her own book. I glance over. It looks like she's reading from my book instead. So sorry. I was just... You really apologize a lot, don't you? I do. I don't really mean to. Sorry. I mean... Here, this should work, right? I slide my desk until it's up against Yuri's, then hold my book more between the two of them. Ah, I suppose so. Yuri timidly closes her own copy. Once we each lean a little bit... Hold on, wait. Once we each lean in a little bit, our shoulders are almost touching. It feels like my left arm is in the way, so instead of using my right hand to hold the book open, I guess that makes it kind of difficult to turn the pages. Here. Yuri takes her left arm and holds the left side of the book between her thumb and forefinger. Oh. Ah. I do the same thing with my right arm on the side of the book. That way I turn the pages... That way I turn the page and Yuri slides it under her thumb after it flips to her side. But in holding it like this, we're huddled even closer together than before. It's actually kind of distracting me. It's as if I could feel the warmth of Yuri's face, and she's in the corner of my vision. Are you reading? Are you reading? Oh, are you ready to turn the page? Sorry. I think I got a bit distracted for a second. I glance over at Yuri's face again, and our eyes meet. I don't know how I'll be able to keep up with her. That's okay. You're not as used to reading, right? You're not as used to reading, right? I don't mind being patient if it takes you a bit longer. It's probably the least I can do, since you've been so patient with me. Yeah, thanks. We continue reading. Yuri no longer asks me if she's ready to turn the page. Instead, I just assume that she's finished the page before me, so I turn it by my own volition. So he's not even reading. I'm not even reading anymore. We continue the first chapter in silence. Even so, turning each page almost feels like an intimate exchange. My thumb gently letting go of the page, letting it flutter over to her side as she catches it under her own thumb. Hey Yuri? This might be a silly thought, but the main character kind of reminds me of you a little bit. You think so? How does she? Well, I guess she's more blunt in a lot of ways, but she also second guesses a lot of things that she says and does. Like she's afraid she'll do something wrong. It's not like I can see into your head or anything, but you're kind of reminiscent of some... But they're kind of reminiscent of some of your mannerisms. I see. You remain silent for a moment. But Lucky, that's probably a terrible thing to have in common with her. That's so embarrassing that you think that. Wait, I didn't mean it in a bad way or anything. Sorry, I really didn't know you were self-conscious about that sort of thing. I guess I more meant that it's kind of cute. What are you saying all of a sudden? Okay, everyone. Oh, I think it's about time we share today's poems with each other. We might not have enough time if we wait too long. Ah. Yuri exhales, spared from finishing her thought. Yuri exhales, spared from finishing her thought. Is that alright, Yuri? You look kind of down. I'm sorry if you haven't been looking forward to this. It's not. It's fine. Yuri released her hand from the book, causing it to close on top of my thumb. Alright. I guess I'll do some more reading tonight. Or would you prefer I only read it with you? I guess I don't have to be... I guess I don't have too much of a preference either way. In that case, I'll read a little more tonight. It'll be more fun to read with you after it picks up a little bit, you know? That's good reasoning. In that case, feel free to finish the first 2 chapters in your own time. Alright. I stand up. I make a mental note of where I left off in the book and slip it back into my bag. Who should I show my poem to first? Yuri. Let's see what you've written for today. Yuri stares at the poem with a surprised expression on her face. Do you like it? Lucky. How did you pick up on this so quickly? Just yesterday I was telling you kind of techniques worth practicing. Maybe that's why... Oh, maybe that's why. You did a good job explaining. I really wanted to try giving it more imagery. I wanted to try... I really wanted to try giving it more imagery. Yuri visibly swallows. Even her hands appear sweaty. I'm not used to this. Used to what? I don't know. It's fine, take your time. Yuri breathes and collects her thoughts. I know that Yuri likes to think before she speaks, so I offer that patience to her. Yeah. Just being appreciated like this, I guess. It probably sounds really stupid, but seeing someone motivated by my writing just makes me really happy. Are you saying you've never shared your writing before? Yuri nods. Really, I don't believe it. I really only write for myself. And besides, people would just laugh at me. Do you really think that? Again, Yuri nods. Huh. Even your close friends? Yuri doesn't respond to that. I wonder why. Anyway, do you want to share your poem you wrote today? Yeah, I do. If it's with you. Oof. Okay. The raccoon. Okay, let me make sure I know what it says. It happened in the dead of night while I was sleeping or slicing bread for a guilty snack. It happened in the dead of night when I was slicing bread for a guilty snack. My attention was caught by the scuttering of a raccoon outside my window. That was, I believe, the first time I noticed my strange tendencies as an unordinary human. I gave the raccoon a piece of bread, my subconscious well aware of the consequences. Well aware that a raccoon that is fed will always come back for more. The enticing beauty of my cutting knife was the symptom. The bread, my hungry curiosity. The raccoon, an urge. Oh man, this is a long one. The moon, an increment, or the moon increments its phase and reflects that much more light off of the cutting knife. Sorry, it's just hard to read this cursive. The very same light that glistens in the eyes of my raccoon friend. I slice the bread fresh and soft, the raccoon becomes excited. Or perhaps I'm merely projecting my emotions onto the newly satisfied animal. The raccoon has taken to following me. You could say that we've gotten quite used to each other. The raccoon becomes hungry more and more frequently, so my bread is always handy. Every time I brandish my cutting knife, the raccoon shows me its excitement. A rush of blood. Classic. What was that? A rush of blood. Classic. Pavlo. I don't even know what that word is. Pavoi. Whatever that word is, conditioning. I slice the bread and I feed myself again. It's just, I don't know what it says because the cursive's weird. I was a little more daring with this one than yesterday's. I can see that. It's a lot more metaphorical. I don't know if it's my fault, but I can't begin to imagine what this poem is about. That's right. It's a bit closer to my preferred writing style. Using the poem as a canvas to express vivid imagery and convey emotions through them. Yeah, if I take it at face value, then I can't even figure out what it's supposed to mean. Well, I think it's something that different people can relate to in their own way. I wanted to express the way I feel. I wanted to express the way it feels for me to indulge in my more unusual hobbies. It's those sorts of things I usually I'm usually forced to keep to myself. So sometimes I enjoy writing about them. Why do you keep them to yourself? Because they're embarrassing and people would make fun of me. Don't you have anything like that, Lucky? Well, yeah, I guess I do. I feel like everyone has a little something like that. The best we can do is respect each other and our individualities. Even if it's difficult sometimes, and some things make us uncomfortable. After all, if I hadn't learned to embrace my own weirdness, I would probably hate myself. I might be ranting a little bit now, but I'm glad that you're a good listener. Oh, okay. I'm gonna show it to Sayori next. Alright. Oh, I like this one, Lucky. It has some nice feelings in it. And I'm glad. Still, though, your tone makes it sound like your tone makes it sound like you liked yesterday's poem better. Haha, I guess you caught me. Sometimes you know me a little too well for my own good. Well, I don't just try to be nice about it. If I'm doing a bad job, then I'd rather you just hear it. No. I still like this one, I promise. You know I wouldn't lie to you, Lucky. Never ever. Yeah, I guess so. What made yesterday's poem so great compared to this one, then? Well, I'm not very good at figuring out if poems are good or bad. But that's why I just go by my heart. If it makes me feel things, then it must be a good poem. I'm not sure if that's exactly how it works. Then I guess I'm conveying feelings is... Then again, I guess conveying feelings is a pretty important part of this whole thing. Yeah, maybe. Honestly, I don't even know what kind of writing you like in this first place. Yeah, me neither. Why don't you at least try giving it some thought? You want me to write something for me? You want to write something for me? That's so sweet. Yeah, right. But you're always thinking about other people. You need to think about yourself once in a while. If you don't, you might end up getting hurt at some point. Eh? Well, I don't really know what you mean, but I'll try to keep it in mind. Well, whatever. Anyway, let's see. I guess I like happy poems. Wait, sometimes I like sad poems too. Sometimes a little bit of both. There's a word for that, right? What's the word I'm looking for? Bittersweet. Yeah. I like things that are happy and things that are sad. Happy and sad. I can't see you liking something sad, Suri. Well, I like happy the most. But sometimes, when you have a little rain cloud in your head, a sad poem can help give the rain cloud a little hug and make a nice happy rainbow. Suri, that's unexpectedly poetic. It is? Maybe I'm getting better at expressing my feelings after all. Thanks, Lucky. I should go write that down then. You can read my poem now, okay? Oh no, it's very long. Wait, hold on. Bottles. I pop off. What? I pop off my scalp like the lid of a cookie jar. It's the secret place where I keep all of my dreams. Little balls of sunshine all rubbing together like a bundle of kittens. I reach inside with my thumb and my forefinger to pick one out. It's warm and tingly, but there's no time to waste. I put it in a bottle and keep it safe. And I put the bottle on a shelf with all the other bottles. Happy thoughts, happy thoughts, happy thoughts in a bottle all in a row. My collection makes me lots of friends, each bottle a starlight to make amends. Sometimes my friends feel a certain way. Down comes a bottle to save the day. Night after night, more dreams. Friend after friend, more bottles. Deeper and deeper my fingers go, like exploring a dark cave, discovering the secrets hiding in the nooks and crannies. Digging and digging, scraping and scraping. I blow dust off my bottle caps. It doesn't feel like time elapsed. My empty shelf could use some more. My friends look through my locked front door. Finally all done, I open up, and in comes my friends. And they come in such a hurry. Do they want my bottles that much? I frantically pull them from the shelf, one after other, holding them out to each and every friend, each and every bottle. But every time I let one go, it shudders against the tile between my feet. Happy thoughts, happy thoughts, happy thoughts, and shards all over the floor. They were supposed to be for my friends who aren't smiling. They're all shouting, pleading, something. But all I hear is echo, 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 echo inside my head. Holy crap. Sarah, did you really write this? Of course I did. Didn't I tell you yesterday I was going to write the best poem ever? Yeah, but I didn't expect something like this coming from you. Monica taught me a whole lot. And I've been really in touch with my feelings recently. I see that. It's almost kind of creepy. Creepy? Well, not exactly. Maybe because I'm so used to you being cheerful. Well, never mind. I'm thinking too hard about it. The point is, it came out good, so you should be proud of it. Ah, thanks. I feel like I was meant to be. I feel like I was meant to express myself in this way. It even helps me understand my own feelings a little better. Writing is like magic. You've gotten pretty passionate about this, huh? I hope you keep it up. Yeah, writing's the best. I'm gonna keep writing until I die. Aha, don't go ahead of yourself. Sarah's always had a habit of getting obsessed with something before dropping it no more than a week later. I wonder if this is one of those times. But seeing the passion in her eyes makes it hard for me to be pessimistic. Okay, who should I show my poem to next? I'm gonna go Monica. Hi again, Lucky. How's the writing going? Alright, I guess. I'll take that. As long as it's not going bad. I'm happy that you're applying yourself. Maybe soon you'll come up with a masterpiece. Haha. I wouldn't count on that. I wouldn't count on that. You never know. Want to share what you wrote with me today? Sure, here you go. I give my poem to Monica. Alright. Great job, Lucky. I was going, oh, in my head while reading it. It's really metaphorical. I'm not sure why, but I didn't expect you to go for something so deep. I guess I underestimated you. It's easiest for me to keep everyone's expectation low. That way it always counts when I put in some effort. Haha, that's not very fair. Well, I guess it worked anyway. You know that Yuri likes this kind of writing, right? Writing that's full of imagery and symbolism? Unlike Sayori's, which is usually unlike Sayori, who likes using simple and direct words to describe happiness and sadness. Yuri likes it when readers are left to desire their own meaning out of it. It's very challenging to write like that effectively. Both allowing people to get something out of it just by feel, or letting them deeply analyze all the nuances. It can take years of practice, which I'm assuming Yuri has at this point. I never really asked though. I'm sure I'm nowhere near her level yet. Don't worry, don't worry so much about that. Wait. Don't worry so much about that. You do your own thing. Just keep exploring and learning by trying new things. But anyway, you want to read my poem now? I like the way this one turned out, so I hope you do too. Alright, let's take a look. Oh. Save me. The colors, they won't stop. Bright, beautiful colors. Flashing, expanding, piercing, red, green, blue. An endless cacophony of meaningless noise. The noise that won't stop. Violet, grating waveforms. Squeaking, screeching, piercing. Sine, cosine, tangent. Like playing a chalkboard on a turntable. Like playing a vinyl on a pizza crust. An endless poem of meaningless. Load me. Huh. It's even more abstract than your last one, huh? Haha. I guess it's just the way I write. I'm sorry if you don't like it. No, I never said that. It's just a kind of thing I've never really seen before, I guess. Kind of like playing with my space on a sheet of paper. Choosing where and how to space your words can... Wait. Choosing where and how you space your words can totally change the mood of the poem. It's almost like magic. The way I wrote the lines really short makes it feel like they're trying to speak over the noise. I see. It's still hard for me to tell... It's still hard for me to tell what it's about, though. Haha. Sometimes asking what a poem is about isn't the right question. A poem can be as abstract as physical expression of a feeling, or a conversation with the reader. So putting it that way, not every poem is about something. Anyway, here's Monica's writing tip of the day. Sometimes you'll find yourself facing a difficult decision. When that happens, don't forget to save your game. Oh? You never know when you might change your mind. Or when something unexpected might happen. Wait, is this a tip even about writing? What am I even talking about? That's my advice for today. Thanks for listening. Oh. Okay. I'm not worried. Who should I show my poem to next? Natsuki. Natsuki? I thought it was Natsuki.
I don't know, that's how they pronounce that word for like Sasuke.
I've been calling it this the last 2 hours, so it's gonna be that way forever.
Okay.
Alright. Well, I can admit that it's better than the last one. It's nice to see that you're putting in some effort. That's that's good. But it's okay.
Love you.
Love you too. But but I still don't like but I still don't like this at all. It's trying too hard to be serious. What do you mean by that? Poems don't need to be all deep sounding and to express something. It's going to just sound like you're forcing it. Oh my gosh. It's just gonna sound like you're forcing it unless you really don't suck at it. Honestly, don't even bother trying to write poems like this until you're on Yuri's level. Natsuki stops short all of a sudden. Don't tell me. You're not just trying to impress Yuri, are you? What are you talking about? And keep your voice down. You know Yuri would love this kind of thing. Of this kind of angsty... Wait. You know Yuri would love this kind of... This angsty... Just because she's a talented writer doesn't mean... I mean... Looks like I'm in trouble. I somehow struck a nerve. Though what I did is beyond me. I am so done with you. Natsuki shoves the poem in her hand. Poem I handed her back over to me. Take your stupid poem. If you wrote it for someone else, just don't show it to me. Ouch. This is what I get for letting a young girl step into my business. Unless I was a mind reader, I was destined to be in a world of pain from the start. At least Natsuki wasn't really the girl I was trying to impress in the first place. Oh, she didn't even let me read her poem. We're all done reading each other's poems, right? I have something extra planned today, so if everyone could come to sit in the front of the room. Is it about the festival? Festival? Well, sort of. Do we really have to do something for the festival? It's not like we can put together anything good in just a few days. We're just embarrassing ourselves instead of getting any new members. That's a concern of mine as well. I don't really do well in the last minute preparations. Don't worry so much. We're gonna keep it simple, okay? We won't need much more than a few decorations. Sayori has been working on posters, and I've designed some pamphlets we can give out during the event. Okay, that's great and all, but that doesn't tell us what we're actually gonna do for the event. Sorry, I thought you heard about it already. We're gonna be performing. Performing? Monica? Yeah, we're going to have a poetry performance. Each of us are going to choose a poem to recite during the event. But the cool part is, we're also going to let anyone else come up and recite poems too. Sarah's putting it on all the posters in case anyone wants to prepare ahead of time. Sayori, who has been coloring a poster, holds it up for us to see. Are you kidding me, Monica? You didn't really start putting these posters up, did you? Well, I did. Do you really think it's that bad of an idea? Well, no. It's not that bad of an idea. But I didn't sign up for this, you know. There's no way I'm going to be performing in front of a group of people like that. I agree with Natsuki. I could never in my life do something like that. Imagining it, Yuri shakes her head in fear. Guys. No, Sayori. I understand where they're coming from. Remember that Natsuki and Yuri have never shared their poems with anyone until just a couple days ago. It's a lot to ask for them to recite their poems out loud to a whole room full of people. I guess I kind of overlooked that, so I'm sorry. But I still think we should give it our best. We're the only ones responsible for the fate of this club. If we start the event and each put on a good performance, then I will inspire others to do the same. And the more people who perform, the better we'll be able to show everyone what literature is all about. Yeah! It's about expressing your feelings, being intimate with yourself, finding new horizons, and having fun. That's right! And it's those reasons that we're all in this club today. Don't you want to share that with others? To inspire them to find same feelings that brought you here in the first place? I know I do. I know we all do. And if all it takes is standing up in front of a room for 2 minutes and reciting a poem, then I know you can do it. Natsuki and Yuri remain silent. Sayori looks worried. I guess that leaves me no choice. I agree. I don't think it's too much to ask. I think that Sayori and Monica have been trying really hard to get new members. The least we can do is help them out a little bit. Well, maybe, but... It looks like Natsuki doesn't have any arguments left. Okay, fine. I guess I'll just have to get over it. Alright. Phew. Thanks, Natsuki. What about you, Yuri? Yuri dejectedly glances around the room. Everyone else expectant faces. Sigh. I guess I don't really have a choice. That's everyone. You're the best, Yuri. This club is seriously going to be the death of me. Oh gosh. You'll be fine, Yuri. But anyway, let's move on to the main event. I want each of you to choose a poem of yours. We're going to practice reciting them in front of each other. No way! Monica, this is so sudden. Well, if you can't recite your poem in front of the club, how do you expect to do it in front of strangers? Oh no. Don't worry. I'll start off to help everyone feel a little more comfortable. Can I go next? Of course. Now let's see. Monica flips through her notebook to a specific poem she has in her mind for herself. She then stands behind the podium. The title of this poem is "The Way They Fly." Monica begins reciting her poem. Her clear, confident voice fills the room. More than that, her inflection is pristine. She knows exactly how to apply emotion behind each line she recites, bringing the words to life. This is something she's done before, or is it simply nature? Or wait, is this something she's done before, or is it simply natural? I glance around me. Everyone has their eyes on Monica. Sayori looks amazed. Yuri has an intense expression on her face that I don't understand. Finally, Monica finishes the recitation. The four of us applaud. Monica takes a breath and smiles. That was so good, Monica. Thank you very much. I was just hoping to set a good example. Are you ready to go next, Sayori? Yuri, I'll go next. What? Yuri's fired up all of a sudden. Yuri clutches the sheet of paper between her hands and stands up. Keeping her head down, she walks quietly over to the podium. This poem is called... Yuri anxiously glances at each of us. You can do it, Yuri. It's called After Image of a Crimson Eye. Yuri's voice shakes as she stares reading the poem. Just moments ago, she practically refused to do this. Why is she suddenly putting in this much effort? As Yuri gets past the first couple of lines, her voice changes. It's almost like what happens when Yuri gets absorbed into her books. Her quivering words transform into sharp syllables of fierce and confident woman. The poem is full of twists and turns and structures that she enunciates with perfect timing. This must be a rare glimpse into the whirling fire Yuri keeps concealed under her head. Suddenly, she's finished. Everyone is stunned. Yuri snaps back into reality and glances at her as if she's bewildered, even herself. It's up to me to save this situation. I'm the first to start applauding. Everyone joins me afterwards, and we give Yuri the recognition she deserves. It's not what we didn't want to. It's not that we didn't want to applaud for her, but we were caught off guard that we must have forgotten. As we applaud, Yuri holds the poem to her chest and rushes back to her seat. Yuri, that was really good. Thank you for sharing. Looks like Yuri is down for the count. Okay. I guess I'm next then. Sari hops onto the chair and cheerfully walks to the podium. This one's called My Meadow. Aha. Sorry, I giggled. Eehee. Sayori? It's a lot harder than I thought. How did you guys do it so easily? Try not to think about it like you're reciting to other people. Imagine you're reciting it to yourself, like in front of a mirror or in your own head. It's your poem, so it'll come out the best. It's your poem, so it'll come out the best that way. I see. Okay then. Sayori begins her poem. Someone I feel like her soft voice has made a perfect match. The poem isn't aimlessly cheery like Sayori's is. It's serene and bittersweet. If I were to read this on paper, I probably wouldn't think much of it. But hearing it come from Sayori's voice, it almost gives me a whole new meaning. Maybe this is what Sayori meant when she said she likes my poems. It's like I get to reach more deeply into someone I thought I knew through and through. Sayori finishes and we applaud. I did it! Good job, Sayori. Even Lucky liked it. I guess that's a good sign. What does that even mean? It came out so nicely, Sayori. The atmosphere of the poem fits you really nicely. But it might be that other people's poems wouldn't work quite as well with that kind of delivery. I don't really understand. Oops. In other words, I've seen poems of yours where that soft and gentle delivery wouldn't work as well. They might need a little more force behind them depending on what you're reading. Oh, I know what you mean. I've been practicing that kind of thing. It's just embarrassing to do it in front of everyone. Hehe. The next time I'm going to make you pick a poem that challenges you a little more. We don't have much time before the festival, you know. Okay. Now who's next? Natsuki? Don't make me go before Lucky. It's not like I can compare to you guys anyway. Might as well let Lucky lower everyone's standards a little bit before I have to do it. Natsuki. It's fine. Might as well get it over with. But it's not like I have much selection of what to read. I'll just have to go with what I wrote for today. I stand up and step in front of the podium. Everyone has their eyes on me, making me feel terribly awkward. I recite my poem. Since I'm not exactly confident in my own writing, it's hard to put energy into it. Despite that, once I finish, I receive applause anyways. Sorry I'm not really good as everyone else. Don't worry about it so much. I think it's less about your abilities and more about your lack of confidence in your writing. That's something that'll prove over time. Yeah, maybe. Alright then. That just leaves you, Natsuki. Yeah. I'm going. Natsuki begrudgingly gets to her seat. Gets out of her seat and makes her way to the podium. The poem is called... Oh, snap, that scared me. The poem is called... It's called... Why are you all looking at me? Because you're presenting. Humph. Anyway, the poem is called Jump. Natsuki takes a breath. When she starts reciting the poem, her sour attitude disappears a little. While she's still a little unenthused, her poem has a rhyme and rhyme. While she's still a little unenthused, her poem has a rhyme and rhyme to it. It's Natsuki's trademark style, and it works surprisingly well when spoken out loud. The words feel like they bounce up and down as if given life to the poem. Natsuki finishes and everyone applauds. She huffs back to her seat. That wasn't so bad, was it? Easy for you to say. You better not make me do that again. Ah, well. Do you at least feel prepared enough to recite the poem in front of other people? I mean, doing it in front of other people will be way easier. I can put whatever face I want to the other people. But when it's just my friends, it's just embarrassing. That's a surprise, Natsuki. I think it would be the other way around for me. Well, that's just how it is, so... Well, I guess in that case, we won't have much to worry about for the festival. That said, I want to thank everyone for coming through. It might be hard, but I hope you all have an idea of what it's like now. Make sure you pick a poem and get enough practice before the festival, okay? I'll be making pamphlets, so let me know ahead of time what you'll be reciting. Jeez. Should probably find some other poem to recite instead. That's fine too. Doesn't have to be your own. I'm already pleasantly surprised that you're putting in all this effort for the club. Makes me really happy. Oh yeah, no problem. Okay, everyone. I think that's about it for today. I know the festival is coming up, but let's try to write poems for tomorrow as well. It's been working out really nicely so far, so I'd like to continue that. As for the festival, we'll finish playing tomorrow, and then we'll have the weekend to prepare. Monday's the big day. I can't wait. I can do this. I can do this. Alright. I stand up. There's no way I'll be able to find the same enthusiasm as Sayori and Monica, but I'll do my best to get through it. If it's for the sake of the club. And impressing Monica. Then I'll have to do my best. Ready to go, Sayori? Yep. Look at you two always going home together like that. I mean, it's kind of adorable, isn't it? Jeez, guys. Don't make such a big deal out of it. Must be a little nice, though. Well, how am I supposed to respond to that? It's okay, Lucky, you don't have to say it. Whatever, let's go already. I walk home with Sayori once more. Even though it's only been a few days, a lot of things have already changed. But today, Sayori is being a little quieter than usual on the way home. Hey, Sayori? Sayori, I was spacing out. Ah, no wonder. I wasn't thinking about something from earlier. I like how we get to it. Or, I mean... Sayori fumbles with her words. So let's just say that one day, Yuri asked to walk home with you. Huh? What would you do? What kind of question is that? You're kind of putting me on the spot here. Well, I'd walk home with Yuri. Walking home with Yuri, huh? What does that thought of that make my heart pound? I mean, given how hard it is for her to socialize, I'd feel awful turning her down, so... Isn't she so beautiful and smart? That has nothing to do with what I just said. You admitted it. Jeez. There's not even a point in speculating something that's never gonna happen. Well, maybe. But I just like to think about it. It's not long before you won't need me anymore, you know? Need you? Sayori. I can't figure out how you're seeing things in your head right now. Sorry. Everyone is different. Nobody in the club is a replacement for you. If you say so. The conversation trails off, and I'm left feeling awkward. But it was kind of her fault for trapping me into such a weird question. I can't just lie to her. But there's something that makes her happy. I would hate to take that away from her. That's why I said there's no point in speculating. Then again, the festival is only a few days away. Who knows what will happen in the next time? Who knows what will happen next? I don't even know what I'm saying. Okay. I'm gonna leave it off here now, I think. Let me see. Settings. Quit. Okay. Yes, I would like to quit. Okay. Okay. Alright, thanks for everyone who showed up and watched my stream. Sorry it's something weird and new. I just wanted to try playing this game on stream. Okay, and I know it's a little bit longer of an episode too. Sorry about that. And if anyone new watching this video hasn't subscribed or anything yet, please do that. It helps. And I'll see everyone in the next one. Bye.